Welcome to Your Capital What's Up. I'm Chuck Wiger, your Area State Senator. Thank you very much for watching. Today I'm very pleased to have as our guest Mark Jenkins from Maplewood. Mark is an entrepreneur, business person. He also, as a volunteer, has been a member and a chair of the Business Economic Development Commission. We'll get the right title in just a moment, but it's all about maintaining and attracting jobs and the quality of life for Maplewood. And he's also the new chair of the Independence Party of Minnesota. You've got a full plate. Welcome to our show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Well, Mark, we're going to talk about each of those activities, but first we'd like to have you share with the viewers a little bit about yourself, and we usually start with where were you raised?
Sure. I was born in Eau Claire, Wisconsin, lived there for a couple of years, then sort of grew up in Wausau, Wisconsin, about 200 miles east of here.
Yeah. Great community.
Yep. High school, moved back to Eau Claire, went away to school for a while, wrapped up my degree in Eau Claire. And
what was the degree in?
Speech communications, pre-law.
Okay. And maybe one memory you'd like to share with us growing up.
Oh, okay.
Fond memory. Pretend it's holidays now or something.
In college I was involved in speech communications, forensics, and my senior year I was planning to go to law school, and I did a speech on smart card technology, computer chips and credit cards. Now this is 1985.
Okay.
And at that point no one had any clue
what
that was.
What school?
That was University of Wisconsin-Eau Claire.
Okay.
And did that speech, qualified it for nationals, sent thank you letters out to the companies and the people who helped me with information, source information, and walked home from an interview with law school and got a job offer on the phone to move to New York City and work for a smart card company. Okay. And I've been a professional geek ever since.
Recall, if you can, what was the key message in that pitch, in that speech?
Well, the speech was informative, so it was telling people about the technology, about security, what the computer circuitry could do in the credit card, how small it was, that type of thing. So it was more informative. The interesting thing about it is at that point, and my wife and I still joke about it, one of the lines in the speech was, in 5 years, everyone's going to have one of these.
Yeah.
And 5 years later, there was still stuff in the industry trades about in 5 years, everyone's going to, and then 10 years later, in 5 years. Well, today, some people have computer circuits or have smart cards for their Visa or American Express, but not that many. But if you have a cell phone, your cell phone most likely has just a small little sliver of that same smart card, that same computer circuitry. Okay. So everyone does have one of those now. It was just 30 years later instead of 5.
Okay, so you're a techie, a self-admitted geek.
Absolutely.
And that's can serve you very well and society. Yeah. But I'd like to also know just a hobby or two, or maybe it is technology, but anything else, fishing or whatever?
I do enjoy learning, reading up on technology, and then of course the next one is politics and being engaged in helping the communities, whether it's in my party activity or my city activity. I did
in high school. In high school
was speech communications, speech and debate. That was it. I was on the golf team too, so that was a little bit of sport and like music.
What type of music?
You name it. I've got everything from the Andrews Sisters to ZZ Top. So and everything in between there.
So if there's one last song you can hear, what might that be?
My favorite song of late, because of the message in it, is "Rockin' the Paradise" by Styx.
Okay.
And you have to listen to the lyrics, but it's a good sort of motivational song about getting out and being able to make change, and changing your community and changing what's in front of you. So Wonderful. That's a good song.
Okay, so anyway, you get the job.
Yep.
And tell us about it.
So Eau Claire, Wisconsin is a community of, at that time, I want to say 40,000 people. Yeah, it's about 100 miles east of here. And I now have a job in New York City, and it was actually cheaper to live in Manhattan than it was to live out in a borough and have a car. my car would have cost more just to park downtown than it would have been for me to live downtown.
It's incredible.
And absolute fantastic experience. I will always tell anyone if they have a chance to go to New York, do it. And then you can always look back on it fondly because it's one of those experiences. But yeah, I would never go back. I visit, but I would never live there.
Yeah.
But it was just a tremendous experience. But a little bit of a culture shock from 40,000 people to millions in a much tighter space. But learning how to hail a cab is a rare skill set, and New York City is a great place to learn that.
Okay. And the key thing that you're doing while you're in Manhattan?
So I had gotten a marketing position with the smart card company, and I don't know anyone in New York City, so I'd go to work.
It's a big step.
Leave work, go grab some pizza or grab some dinner, and then I'd go back to the office, and I had studied, smart card technology, but I wasn't, never took a computer class, programming, any of that stuff. But I had a computer on my desk, so I actually read the manual.
Okay.
One of the few people on the planet who actually read the manual.
You understood it.
And I understood it. And I'm like, wait a minute, that made sense to me. So that's how I started to dig into taking it from the microelectronics into computer technology. And I was like, yeah, that did make sense. So I started to dig deeper into that. So, sharpened my teeth on computers in the evenings in New York, and played tourist a lot too. And I was there for 6 months. My wife and I had made an agreement that in 6 months, let's make the decision.
So you were married when
I was engaged.
Engaged.
Yep.
Okay.
And we decided that, let's give it 6 months, and if it's fantastic.
The job, not the engagement.
The job.
Okay.
Yeah, no, not the engagement. It was 6 months in New York. If everything was great, my wife would move out. If it wasn't that great, and it was great, but it wasn't good enough to pick up my wife and have her come out. And we made the decision to come back. And at that point, when my wife graduated from college, she went to work for this insurance company in St. Paul. You might have heard of it, where she's just celebrated 25 years, going to be 26 soon, with Securian Financial.
Then Minnesota
Mutual Life at the time.
Okay.
Watched over the years as words were pulled off of the guard's desk. And so we came back to Minnesota. We lived downtown for a little bit. Eventually moved out into the east suburbs. We lived in Woodbury up until 6 years ago, but only a mile and a half away from where we are now. We just lived on the other side of Century. And then 6 years ago, we had actually been looking at the community we're in, the neighborhood, New Century neighborhood, from the time it was starting to be built in 2000. And beautiful home became available, and it fit what we were looking for, and been a very happy member of the Maplewood community ever since.
We're going to get to some of those activities, but a little more about the business. You've been your own boss as an entrepreneur.
Yep, been doing that for about 8 years now. Worked in wireless telecom. Worked for Aerial, VoiceStream, and now today T-Mobile. So I was with them for 7 years, and actually my last position with them had me in DC for a year as a sales engineer for federal accounts. And that was another career position where the company wanted me out there. I said, I'll do it for no more than a year, but within the year you got to move me back to Minnesota. And so came back within the year. Worked for another company for about 4 years and decided I thought there was another way to market cell phones about 8 years ago. It took me about a year to find out that, no, that really wasn't a good model. So we've been doing consulting projects, support for businesses. Actually just
What do you advise the business? And
it'll be a couple things. It'll be working with their IT staff to figure out how they have control of a user's phone. If the company owns the phone, they want to make sure that Joe doesn't leave his phone out in a cab in New York and all of a sudden someone pulls up trade secrets or client list. And so we work with the IT staffs on some of the equipment and the software that's available to them so they can manage that. We also provide support to the users, the company's users. Traditionally, most companies will say, call the IT help desk if you have a problem with your phone, but a company will normally have maybe a handful of computers they approve because it's tough to support, more than a handful of computers. But today, most companies are saying, but bring in your own phone. So now the IT staff is trying to support 4 models of computer, but 30 models of wireless handset, and it's overwhelming for them. I focus just on smartphones, so whether it's Android or iOS, Apple or BlackBerry, and if a company says, gee, we don't have this device to test, I have the resources to put that together. So I'm sort of like tier 2 tech support for a lot of companies for their end users on how do I connect to the airport's Wi-Fi, or had a call a couple months ago. I'm in Canada and I forgot to tell them that I was roaming.
Yeah.
Is it too late? And fortunately for that person and their phone, they weren't, because Canada's not like going to Europe.
Okay. For individual consumers now, and perhaps most have a phone, and I'll disclose too, I called Mark and asked him for some tips about getting a smartphone and various other technological advances that have been out there, and I really appreciated that. But would you like to share just some tips in general to people that might be thinking of getting a smartphone or upgrading, or maybe maybe there's a good book to read or website?
Actually, since you said this, it made me think of a bit of it's not a joke, but it's like reality, but it's sort of funny, it used to be that people would say, someday my computer's going to be as easy to use as my phone. And now it's true. The problem is it wasn't the evolution they thought of. Instead of the computer getting easier, the phones have now become more computers in and of themselves.
It's there.
But no, what I tell people when it comes to devices is, don't worry about all of the things the phone does. Worry about the things you want it to do. When you've got time, if you're a guy sitting in a big cushy chair waiting for your wife in the dressing room, if I want to try a new application or see how my phone does this or that, I can do that when I want to. But when you're picking out a phone, do you need email? Do you need internet? Or do you want streaming video? Do you want a good audio player? Pick that stuff up. Almost any smartphone will have 80% more that you're never going to use, or that you'll be able to look into. But too many people say, wow, these are so complicated, it does so much, and then they never use it, but they worry themselves to death in the choice. Focus on what you need to do, buy that, and then play with the other stuff as you have time.
And Mark, would you like to share your phone number, or if anyone would like to call, or is there a website where
Sure. Well, for my business,
just if they had a question, and I know you'll give a initial consult, and but just for people that want to, because I know how dedicated you are to just helping if people have a question on something.
Yeah, absolutely. My business is Marquee Mobile Solutions, and my direct phone number on my hip is 612-701-2019.
We'll say that one more time.
So 612-701-2019.
Great. And there's website information too, but if they try that number,
that'll get me. Call or text, either one. We'll get back to you.
Okay. So in addition to your own business activities and interests, you've become very involved in public affairs issues with that passion rooted back in high school, college days. So now we have so many issues facing the community, the state, the national level, and you have among other things, you've gotten involved in Maplewood. You are one of the original chair of the Economic Development Commission. Tell us about that commission, what motivated you to apply, and obviously the council had confidence by making you a member and then becoming chair, but why that commission?
Specifically that one, because I'm a small business owner. The reason for getting involved in a commission at all with Maplewood was I wanted to give back to the community I was in. There were things I did in my old residence when I was in Woodbury. I worked with the speech team there for 10 years.
At the high school?
At the high school,
Okay,
over at
good.
Woodbury High School. And yeah, new community, I'm settled in, my business is running smoothly, and where can I contribute back? And I had been attending city council meetings for about 2 years. It was almost 2 years at that time, and got to know the city council members and staff. And when this commission was built, being a small business owner, and at this point being aware of the opportunities that are available for the city of Maplewood to market itself and to build its business community better, I thought this is a great place to apply my skills.
Okay. And what does the commission do?
So the Business and Economic Development Commission, if you hear a city council member or staff talk about a BEDC, because all commissions have to have wacky acronyms, the BEDC, or Business and Economic Development Commission, is really designed to help support existing businesses in the city of Maplewood, as well as attract new businesses. Now, the initial intent of the Business and Economic Development Commission was to serve as an advisory commission to Maplewood's Economic Development Authority.
Okay.
And obviously due to, shall we say, challenging financing options for the EDA at this point, Maplewood's Economic Development Authority for the last year and a half has been rather slow. So what I've tried to do in accordance with staff and our council liaison is say, let's not wait for direction from the EDA, let's take some proactive steps. And in some of the community stuff I had done prior to that, I'd seen how neighboring cities had very vibrant business outreach programs. And so we put together a business retention or business outreach program where commissioners will go out to local businesses, and it's strictly, hey, what do you want to share with us about Maplewood? What brought you here? What are some of the challenges you're facing? And it's just a great opportunity to introduce the city to them and show them that the city is aware of them and does want them to know that we want their opinion. We want to be able to hear from them and say, how can we make it easier to run a business in Maplewood?
Well, and of course, Maplewood has the corporate headquarters of 3M, the most successful corporation in the state, prestigious throughout the world.
Yep.
And there's an incredible spin-off of jobs from their vendors, et cetera. Have there been meetings with 3M?
Yeah,
In
absolutely.
addition to small businesses, but small businesses work with 3M.
Yeah. And in fact, 3M's had some of their people come to our Business Economic Development Commission last month and showed us all the construction you see around 3M.
Yes.
We got to see the plans for the open space in front of the building. They're replacing the fountain with landscaping, and the middle parking lot in what they call their quad, I believe, is going to be an open space for employees to eat outside, small meeting places, that type of thing. And they came to us to just share with us what they're doing. As chair of the Business and Economic Development Commission, it's nice when a business comes to you and says, hey, we want to tell you, what steps we're taking, and these aren't, as was said at the city council meeting the other night, because they gave the same presentation there. It's not just, new paint on the walls and changing the carpeting. They're doing an extensive remodel of their main campus. And to me, that was cool because that shows a dedication to staying in Maplewood.
Yes.
You know, if they had said, hey, we're just changing the paint and the carpeting, you go, okay. But when they're reinvesting this into their corporate campus, it's nice to see a business say, yeah, and we're doing that because we're going to stay. And that was nice.
Great. Well, and we appreciate their many contributions.
Absolutely.
And, very recently, $100,000 from their foundation to Fish Creek for that whole project.
Yeah.
The volunteers from 3M, that whether it's Habitat for Humanity or working in our schools, various projects. So the city is, I know, very appreciative. The many people that work there are as well, obviously. Yeah. So that's high on the list and working with them. And but there's a lot of employers. Approximately how many businesses are there in Maplewood? And
that's a good question. I actually don't have access to that information. Staff does that. I believe, and I'll apologize if I'm off mic, I'm sorry, but I want to say there's like 800 and some registered. One of the challenges with the city, is, you know, for example, my business is a small consulting firm. I run out of my house.
Yes.
So I don't need fire permits. I don't need, you know, those types of permits. So the city doesn't necessarily have record of those kinds of businesses. Okay. So the city's records are just businesses who've come to the city for some type of a licensing.
What's the key message when you do reach out to businesses?
The first message is, you know, we want to be just introductory and say, hey, we're here. We'll leave them with a letter with contact information, whether it's inspections or licensing or what it is. So it's more just to say the city's here, the city's aware, and here are some people you can reach out to.
Okay.
What's been nice is in different situations we visited a business that was on White Bear Avenue just south of the mall one day. And it just happened to be a day after there was a water main break or something as part of the construction. And so, unfortunate situation, but timely that we were able to get them contact information to help make sure that the construction and stuff, they were kept up to date on what was going on. We'll be visiting, I just got my list of businesses to visit in November, and one of the businesses has been in front of the city council recently for some changes and some development they're doing. So it's a great opportunity, not just to introduce ourselves, but to say, hey, tell us how the city's doing. How is working with the city on this project? And then as a commissioner, it makes them a little bit more comfortable talking to a volunteer citizen, fellow business owner, than having someone from the city saying, so how did we do? And maybe they scale back their criticism or their commentary because of who the audience is. But business owner to business owner, we'll see when they get
And is there a liaison from the council on your commission?
Mike Martin is our staff liaison.
Okay.
And then from the city council, it is Commissioner Lannis, or Councilmember Lannis, Jim Lannis.
Okay, and I know the ordinance, I believe it requires that there be at least one business person, such as yourself.
Actually, three small business owners.
And is there an opening? Well, from time to time there's openings, so you just look at the city website and they can find out.
And there actually is an opening. I don't recall whether if it was required to be a business owner. I mean, they can have more than 3 business owners. So if you're a business owner, don't worry about the ratio. You can apply. But yeah, there is one opening at this point.
Okay.
So.
Good. Well, the time is going so quickly, Mark, and I want to make sure we talk about your most recent venture. You are the chair of the State Independence Party. Tell us about that. So
in February, and I'm good friends with the former chair, Jack Aldrich. Jack's business was just booming, and I now know with a lot more hindsight than I did at the time that this could easily be a full-time job.
Yes.
Or more. And Jack's business was growing, and he was having to make tough choices. And it's tough to to help build a political party when you're at an airport or out of the country or traveling. So he asked me if I would be interested in being chair to fill out the rest of his term, and talked to him, talked to a number of other people in the party. In February, the executive committee elected me to fill out his term, and then I was asked to continue on, and in April I was elected for a full 2-year term as chair of the Independence Party. And so it was a lot harder work than I expected, but I'm loving it. I'm just having a great time. It's nice I like getting engaged in the issues, and I like being able to bring a voice, and it's been tremendous.
And if people want to find out more about the party, you can go to the website for the Independence Party for Minnesota. There's information on various position statements and who to contact. And so if you'd like to, just say how to get to that website.
Website is real easy, as all political parties are. We squeeze it into a little acronym. It's mnip.org. That'll get you to the website. Feel free to reach out to me too, either at the number I gave before or...
We did have that on screen, but if you'd like to give that one more time.
You'll actually have my, I believe you're going to have my political party email address and phone number on screen.
Okay.
So that'll be on screen. So feel free to reach out.
Various ways to reach Mark.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, Mark, the time is up. I want to thank you for your many activities, for joining our show today, and clearly your passion for public service, for technology, for giving to the community is all being looked at and addressed, and so we appreciate all those efforts.
Thank you, Chuck. Appreciate it.
Good. Viewers, I thank Mark for being here. Please contact him if you have questions. If you'd like to contact me, I'm at 651-770-0283. For Your Capital What's Up, I'm Chuck Wiger. Thank you very much for watching. Thanks, Mark.
You bet.
Yeah. Well, good time.